Hey, what's up, folks? Happy Friday to everybody. Hope you guys have a good weekend planned ahead. Somebody who may not have a pleasant weekend planned ahead is LeBron James. He has taken the brunt of criticism when it comes to their loss against the Chicago Bulls. That was a very featured matchup late in the season, the top two teams in the Eastern Conference, and many people, including Skip Bayless, shocker there, has gone after LeBron James and criticized him and labeled him as the guy who is to blame for their loss. And I want to make one thing very unequivocally clear here. Very obvious to me in watching that game and knowing basketball as I do. When you score 30 points in a basketball game, when you lead your team in assists, you are not the reason to blame for a loss. LeBron James bricked a free throw. It happens. But he also made the second free throw. It wasn't LeBron James who decided to leave C.J. Watson open, where he could have literally taken a nap, then got up, then taken a nap again, and then made that wide open, non-contested three-point shot to tie the game and ultimately give the Bulls the win in overtime. By the way, it was the Bulls who outscored the Heat 12-2. Is that LeBron James' fault? Is it LeBron James' fault that the bench of the Heat went 3 for 12? Heck, I could go out there and do better than 3 for 12 if I was playing with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. I mean, Mike Miller, you're supposed to be a guy who was the Rookie of the Year at one point. You're supposed to be a high-caliber player in this game. You got to make LeBron James' life easy, not more difficult. You go 1 for 9? I mean, please. I mean, that's a bad batting average. That's a bad batting average if you're Russell Martin. So, for us to sit here and direct the blame and orchestrate the blame towards LeBron James is foolish. It's tomfoolery. It's not fair. It's not credible. It's not objective. I understand LeBron James may have not played his A-plus game, and he certainly was a factor in why the Heat lost, but he's not to blame. If you want to blame everybody, or anybody I should say, you blame the coach. You blame the guy that says, you know what, we're going to allow the Bulls to get a three-point shot up in the first place, we're going to not foul Boozer on the inbound pass, and we're going to totally sag and let whatever is open in the corner be open, and that's exactly what happened when C.J. Watson knocked down that shot. Derrick Rose went 1 for 13. This was last year's MVP, the youngest MVP in the history of the NBA. And it was Derrick Rose that sat out overtime, and you still lost to him. So you can't sit here and fairly say this is LeBron James' fault. No, this is a huge team loss. And I understand he is the superstar. He's whatever option you want to call him, whether he's 1 or 2 on any given night. But let's not be totally skewed in our judgment here. Let's not be totally irrational that we want to blame the A-list guy, because that's not fair. Because he played well. He had 30 points. He went 11 for 24 from the field. He had 5 assists. You got to win that game as a team. It was Chris Bosh, if I saw correctly in the overtime, that acted like he was allergic to the basketball. And I know Bosh is a nice guy and he's a fine player at that. Well, Kevin Garnett's out playing him in his 17th year. But that's a whole nother discussion entirely. Chris Bosh was the guy that let the ball roll right between his fingertips out of bounds. It was Kyle Korver that essentially won the game for the Bulls. And I don't know if the Heat have been paying attention, but Kyle Korver can flat out shoot that rock. So you got to get a hand in his face. You got to step up and you got to contest him. You got to make it difficult for him to make any single shot, particularly in the overtime period when the Bulls are extending the lead and the momentum is in their favor. You can't give him anything. The guy shot 75% from long distance. That's unacceptable. But let's not be unfair and totally asinine and out of our mind when it comes to blaming LeBron James for this loss. I'll blame LeBron James for a lot of things. I'll blame him for the incredulous decision and the sophomoric and immature manner of LeBron James in the summer of 2010. I'll blame him for going comatose in the NBA Finals in 2011, where the guy forgot he's one of the best basketball players on the planet and instead thought he was along for the ride and let me watch Dwayne Wade take the game over and win the NBA Finals because I know I ain't going to do it myself. That was his mindset. But I'm not going to blame him for last night's loss. That's unfair. That's unprofessional, And it's a disgrace and a disservice to anyone's credibility to look at that basketball game and truly believe that LeBron James was the overriding factor for why they lost. No, if anything, he's the reason why they almost won the game. And that's a game that they should have won. Let's not make any argument or mistake about that notion. But LeBron James, unfair criticism, you're better than that, Skip Bayless. You are. You're better than that. You got to be more objective. You got to be more fair. You got to really see the game for what it was. LeBron James was the best player yesterday. He was the best player. That gets me fired up, folks. I don't like when a player is unfairly criticized. That's not right. The guy played a very good basketball game. Give credit where it is due. Give him acclaim where it is deserved. Anyways, folks, we're going to talk about the hockey playoffs. I'm going to lend my expertise or lack thereof in hockey tomorrow. I'm going to break it down for you, what I think is important, what stands out. I'm going to do it like my mentor in hockey, Scott Farrell, would do it. I'm not going to have the same caliber of knowledge that he has, but I'm going to certainly try to extend myself to that game because I know it's been exciting. I know the Penguins, they have some explaining to do, but it's not over for them, and it's certainly not over for the Rangers, who are looking like they could be the favorites in the East. Folks, again, you're listening to Sports with Shep. I'm David Shepard. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your insight, your wisdom, your participation. Keep it coming. And until then, folks, have a pleasant tonight and enjoy your weekend. Thank you for listening.